Hey, Shalom.
Shalom.
First and foremost, we turn towards the east, facing Jerusalem, giving all praise and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Kakadash. All right, Yahweh is the true name of our Heavenly Father, and the word we know is God, Jehovah, Yahweh. Yahweh Shai is the name of His only begotten Son, our King, Lord and Savior, who in the world that we know is Jesus Christ. Ba'ashem, Kakadash is in the name of the Holy Spirit, and it's the inspiration given to us to edify those that have been given ears to hear. Double honors to the apostle and the other bishops at Great Millstone. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect brethren, faithfully and diligently preaching this word with fear and trembling. Shalom to the believers, the men, women, children that subscribe and listen to this truth wholeheartedly through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. All right, so just gonna get into a quick topic, basically inspired through this brother's word of the day, which was
equity.
Okay, equity. So that's what we're gonna go into. I'm not sure what I'm going to entitle it. We're just gonna go, through the spirit and deal with this particular word. All right. Without further ado, we're gonna dive right into it.
This is Psalms 98 and verse 2, and it reads, "The Lord Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, have made known His salvation; His righteousness hath He openly showed in the sight of the heathen." It says in verse 3, "He have remembered His mercy and His truth toward the house of Israel. All the ends," it says, "all the ends of the earth have seen the salvation of our power." It says in verse 4, "Make a joyful noise unto the Lord, Yahweh Yahweh Shai, all the earth. Make a loud noise and rejoice and sing praise." Verse 5, "Sing unto the Lord, Yahweh Yahweh Shai, with the harp and the voice of a song." Verse 6, with trumpets and sound of cornet, make a joyful noise before the Lord Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, the King. It says in verse 7, "Let the sea roar and the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein." Verse 8, "Let the floods clap their hands, let the hills be joyful together." And it says in verse 9, "Before the Lord Yahweh Yahweh Shai, for He cometh to judge the earth, with righteousness shall He judge the world and the people with equity."
Right. So what is equity? Go ahead.
This is equity. From the Nance website.org, and it says, "What is equity? The term equity refers to fairness and justice, and it says is disguised from." It says, "What is equity? The term equity refers to fairness and justice, and is disguised or distinguished from equality." And it says, "Whereas equality means providing the same to all," and it says equity means recognizing that we do not all start from the same place and must acknowledge and make adjustments to imbalances."
That's it. You see that? And the whole course of the earth is out of balance, right? And the Lord didn't set up all these nations to be equal. There's a difference between equality and equity. All right? Give me Deuteronomy 32, 8 and 9. As it say, we must all start from different places. All right? So every nation on the earth, the Lord has set in an order. Okay? Go ahead.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32 and verse 8. "When the Most High divided the nations, their inheritance."
All
right, this is Deuteronomy, chapter 32 and verse 7. "Remember the days of old, consider the years of many generations. It says, "Ask thy father, and he will show thee."
Right. It said, "Consider the years of many generations." Even within your own family line, you go back and look at how your father had to make a living versus how you got to make a living today. and go back to how your father's father had to make a living versus, the things that he had to go through. Nobody started on an equal playing ground. Essentially, your forefathers had a harder come up than you did. Okay? But the Lord draws equity out of every age, out of every situation. Go ahead, bro.
Con, and it says in Deuteronomy 32 and verse 7, remember the days of old, consider the years of many generations, ask thy father, and he will show thee thy elders, and they will tell thee. It says in verse 8, when the Most High divided the nations, their inheritance.
Yep, when he divided the nations, their inheritance. Right? Well, how did he do it? Go ahead.
And it says when he separated the sons of Abraham.
He separated the sons of Adam. So he separated them. He divided the inheritances. All right? Divided the nations, their inheritance. He separated the sons of Adam. Go ahead.
Yep. And it says he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel.
He set the bounds. So he set boundaries. He said it according to the number of the children of Israel. So in other words, he made Israel the standard, so to speak. He made Israel be his chosen, whom he would ultimately give the highest portion of his inheritance to. Right? Go ahead.
Yep, and it says in verse 9 of Deuteronomy 32 and verse 9, for the Lord's portion is his people, Jacob is the lot of his inheritance.
That's it. So the other nations, they don't compare to the Lord's chosen people, right? So where do you get this thing of equality? There's no such thing as equality. Now there's equity. Now let's read that again. Let's read that definition.
Now, this is the definition again for the word equity, and it says, what is equity? The term equity refers to fairness and justice and is distinguished from equality.
So the Lord's judgment is not equal, but the Lord's judgment is fair. Right? Because when you deal with, though he chose, give me Deuteronomy 7 and 6, and we'll jump back.
This is Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy power. The Lord thy power have chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
Go ahead.
And it says in verse 7, the Lord Yahweh, or Yahweh Shai, did not set his love upon you, nor choose you, because ye were more in number than any people, for ye were the fewest of all people.
Go ahead.
It says in verse 8, but because the Lord Yahweh, or Yahweh Shai, loved you.
So he chose us just because he loved us. Go ahead.
And it says in verse 8, but because the Lord Yahweh, or Yahweh Shai, loved you, and because he would keep the oath which he had sworn unto your fathers, have the Lord Yahweh, or Yahweh Shai, brought you out with a mighty hand and redeemed you out of the house of bondmen from the hand of the Pharaoh, the king of Egypt.
That's it. And he did that simply because he loved us. It was nothing that we done. It was nothing that we didn't make ourselves appealing to the Lord in any kind of way. It was just his choice. It was just his choice. Now, even with that said, right, he chose us to be above all the nations on the face of the earth. Are we above all the nations on the face of the earth now? No. Right? Because he didn't just say, all right, I'm going to put y'all on high no matter what. It came with what? Stipulations. It came with a contract. It came with Deuteronomy 28, the law, statutes, and commandments, where we was sworn to keep, which we made an oath by blood to keep. Now, when we don't keep those things, what happens? The balance is thrown off. we're no longer the people that are above, we're the people that are below. That allows those other nations to come and rule over us. That was how the Lord established equity. See? That's how he set the bounds according to the number of the children of Israel. Right? When we keep the Lord's laws, statutes, and commandments to the best of our ability, and we don't worship these other gods, he makes these heathens subject unto our rule. You got something?
Like I had one real quick, going with what you just said about like how when we disobey, we got put lower. This is Deuteronomy. This is Baruch chapter 4 and verse 6. It says, ye were sold to the nations, not for your destruction, but because ye moved Yahweh Shem Yahushua to wrath. Ye were delivered unto the enemies. It says in verse 7, it says, for ye provoked him.
We were delivered to the enemies. So the Lord gave us over to these heathens because we did not keep our end of the contract. We got out of balance with his judgment. So to balance it back out, you see, say, okay, y'all supposed to be up. They supposed to be down. Y'all don't keep the law, statutes, and commandments. I'm gonna put them up, and y'all gonna be down, right? Go back to the definition again. Let's get Daniel 4.
Cause this is back in the definition for what is equity, and it goes into the term equity refers to fairness and justice, and is distinguished from equality.
Go ahead.
Whereas equality means providing the same to all, equity means recognizing that we do not all start from the same place and must acknowledge and make adjustments to imbalances.
So we must acknowledge, right? Read that part again from acknowledge. We must acknowledge.
And it says,
and we must acknowledge.
And it says, and must acknowledge and make adjustments to imbalances.
Acknowledge and make adjustments to imbalances, right? So the course of the earth is all out of whack because of us. That's why there's no true equity in the earth. Remember, equity is fairness. There's a difference between equality and equity. See, Esau Edom, who's ultimately in the he's in the dominion seat. He's in the position of rulership and dictatorship. Give me Daniel 4 and 17. All right? He pushes the ideology of equality. And that's why these people walk around here and have the audacity to tell you that we're all equal. We're not all equal. And there's no such thing as equality here. That's a goddamn lie. Go ahead, bro.
Right. And it says in Daniel chapter 4 in verse 17, this is the matter. This matter is by the decree of the watchers. And it says, and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and setteth up over it the basis of men.
So he'll set it up over it the basis of men. Now the kingdom is really the kingdom. There's no kingdom without a king. There's no such thing as a kingdom that's just there. A kingdom has to be set up by a king, and a king has to have a council. King has to have a hierarchy, and then he has to have slaves, peasants, people to rule his kingdom with, right? Now, the kingdom is essentially who? Give me that in the book of the kingdom of heaven. All right. Because when you deal with how any kingdom is set up, it has to be set up with a specific order. There has to be rules, regulations, and then there has to be particular men set up to enforce those rules and regulations. Okay? got it.
Con.
Go ahead.
This is
You don't got to get straight to it. I prefer you not get straight to the point. I prefer you read into the context of it a little bit.
this is Luke 17.
I think start like 20 something. Look at 22. That's it. 20.
Con, this is Luke chapter 17 and verse 20. And it reads, and when he was demanded of the Pharisees, when the kingdom of Yahweh should come, he answered them and said,
Who answered? Yahweh Shah. Listen to what he said.
It says, the kingdom of Yahweh cometh not with observation. And it says in verse 21, neither shall they say, lo here or lo there, for behold, the kingdom of Yahweh is within you.
Right. It's within you.
Yeah.
Now, he was demanded of who? The Pharisees. Right? The Pharisees were what? Masters of the law. Okay? Now I got a precept. He said, the kingdom of heaven is within you. Like he said, Nicodemus, aren't you supposed to be a master? Because Nicodemus was a Pharisee.
Yep.
Paul was a Pharisee, right? He said, the kingdom of heaven is within you, right? Go back and read, while I'm getting this, go back and read Psalms 98 and was it your verses 9?
Yeah,
read that verse again, right?
Because this is Psalms 98 and verse 9. And it reads, before the Lord, Yahweh, for he cometh to judge the earth. With righteousness shall he judge the world and the people with equity.
All right, so he's gonna judge the people with equity.
Yep.
So what creates equity? What creates fairness? Right? This is Ecclesiasticus 10. And remember, he told the Pharisees, the kingdom of heaven is within you. Look up the word Pharisee out of that Luke, right? Look up and see what it say. So this is Ecclesiasticus 10, the book of Sirach, also known as the book of Sirach in the Apocrypha. 10 and verse 1. Ecclesiasticus 10 and verse 1. A wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered. Okay? So when he told the Pharisees that the kingdom of heaven is within you, he was talking about the law. The law is the order of the kingdom of heaven. Okay? Because every kingdom has to have a particular order for it to function properly. As the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers. And what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. So there's in this time we're living in, there's a base man ruler. That's why you see a base society, right? And we're gonna go back. I want to look up that word basis, right? Basis, but get what I call first. The Pharisees. It ain't coming up. Go to the verse. You gotta take your time.
This is the word Pharisee in the Blue Letter Bible, and it goes into Strong's G5330. Pharisaitos. All right, in the outline of biblical usage, it says a sect that seems to have started after the Jewish exile. In addition to the Old Testament books, the Pharisees recognized in oral tradition a standard of belief and life.
A standard of belief and life. What? Go ahead.
And it says they sought for this distinction and praise by outward observance of external rites and by outward forms of piety.
Go ahead.
And it says, and such as ceremonial washings, fastings, prayers, and alms, givings. Giving and comparatively negligent of genuine piety they prided themselves.
That's piety. But go ahead.
Yeah, piety. And it says they prided themselves on their fancy good works.
Go ahead.
And it says they held strenuously to a belief in the existence of good and evil angels.
See? they held what?
It says they held strenuously. Yep.
To a belief. In the existence.
Yep. In the existence of good and evil angels.
Go ahead.
And it says, and to the expectation of a Messiah.
Go ahead.
And they cherished and
the expectation of a Messiah.
Yeah.
So when you go to the scripture in the Lord, He said the kingdom of heaven is within you. This is telling you what the kingdom of heaven is supposed to be built upon: a belief of good and evil, a Messiah. All right, to come and balance these things out. But go ahead.
Yep. And it says, and to the expectation of a Messiah, and they cherish the hope that the dead, after a preliminary experience either of reward or of penalty in Hades.
Yeah. Where you at? It's a long for just the first one. Go to Google Pharisee. Google. And I'm trying to get to the point, like basically the point that I wanted to extract from the word Pharisee is that they were masters of the law. They knew the law. Okay? And everything, when you really deal with equity, it deals with fairness being set up by laws. And that's what the Lord, He established these different nations to have a rulership according to us keeping His laws, keeping His equity. Like this is, He gave us something, say, okay, this is what I'm gonna give you, and this is how I'm gonna make it fair. If you keep the laws, I'm gonna put you on high. You're gonna maintain that position I want you to be in. If you break my laws and you go against me and worship other gods, I'm gonna make you low. I'm going to make your enemies to reign over you and have the advantage over you. Go ahead.
Come on, this is the word Pharisee in the Google definition, and it says a member of an ancient Jewish sect distinguished by strict observance of the traditional and written law.
That's what I want. That's it. That's it. That's it. Read that again.
Come.
That's why He said the kingdom of heaven is within you. Because the kingdom of heaven is going to be operated strictly according to the law. The laws of the Most High is the kingdom of heaven. Go ahead.
Con, this is the word Pharisee in the Google definition, and it goes into a member of an ancient Jewish sect distinguished by strict observance of the traditional and written law.
This is why the Yahushua said the kingdom of heaven is within you. All right? Now I'm going to go back and finish this. And I want you to go back to Daniel, right? And then jump to 4 and 35 after we get the word basis. Right? So it says, as the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers, and what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. An unwise king destroyed his people, but through the prudence of them which are in authority, the city shall be inhabited. The power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, and in due time He will set over it one that is profitable. So then true equity is going to be coming back to the earth, because this place doesn't operate off of strict laws and it doesn't observe strict laws. It doesn't keep a standard, right? Matter of fact, you can really do whatever the hell you want to do. They'll tell you there's something is supposed to be illegal, but it's not even lawful for them to make it illegal. You see, that's not fair. That's not equity. They'll tell you that their system and their constitution is based upon the Bible, but then they'll turn around and legalize homosexuality. Yep. See, it's legal. Homosexuality is legal, but it's not lawful. Lawful meaning lawful deals with it being righteous, upright. Okay? Just because something's legal doesn't mean that it's lawful. Go ahead. So you're dealing with beings that are not lawful, unreasonable.
I'm gonna bring this out again. This is Daniel chapter 4 and verse 17, and it reads, "This matter is by the decree of the watchers and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men and giveth it to whomsoever he will."
So he creates equity.
Yep.
He balances things out.
Yep.
But he does it according to the number of the children of Israel.
Yep.
See, all these kingdoms that have ruled and been in a position of power is because Israel dropped the ball. You got it?
Yep. And it says, "And giveth it to whomsoever he will, and setteth up over it the bases of men."
Go ahead, get the word of basis. If you really deal with the Lord's number right now to put everything back in balance, is only the number of the elect, right? Which is the 1/3, beginning with the 144,000, and then the great multitude. Once the elect gets right, then the balance of the earth is going to be restored. Okay? Go ahead. So I just want the word basis.
This is the word basis. This is the word basis in the Blue Letter Bible, and it goes into Strong's H8215, and it says in the outline of biblical usage, lowest.
He gave it to the lowest of men, which proves that Esau Edom is that man, because he's the one that wrote shit like that. The lowest of men, and it says Esau is the end of the world. So where we at right now is in the time of Esau Edom's reign, and it's the end of the world because the lowest man on the planet Earth is in the position of rulership. Okay, so you got a precept. Go ahead, grab another precept off. Okay. Off the chat real quick. I had some, but it escaped me. Or will it come back to me? Oh, yeah. No, I got it. So this is Psalms 82, and let's see, I'm starting.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yep, I'm gonna start it 2. I'm gonna start at 1. This is a Psalm of Asaph, Psalms 82 and 1. The Most High standeth in the congregation of the mighty. He judgeth among the gods. Gods means powers. How long will ye judge unjustly and accept the persons of the wicked? Defend the poor and fatherless. Do justice to the afflicted and needy. So this is basically a cry out to the Lord. How long will you judge unjustly and accept the persons of the wicked? Meaning, how long are you going to allow the wicked to rule and, dictate the condition of the earth? Defend the poor. This is a prayer, crying out. And fatherless, do justice to the afflicted and needy. Deliver the poor and needy. Rid them out of the hand of the wicked. All right? Give me Daniel 4 and 35 real quick. So when it says the earth is given into the hands of the wicked, right? The power of the earth is in the hands of the Lord, and he give it to whomever he shall please. The real power of the earth is the law, statutes, and commandments, right? That's what keeps the earth at its full power, the peak of its power. That's what keeps the earth at peace. That power is within his men. Whose hand are his men in? Who has the Israelites in their hand? The Edomites, the wicked. Go ahead.
Yep. And it says in Daniel chapter 4 and verse 35, and all the inhabitants of the earth are reputed as nothing. And he doeth, and it says, and he doeth according to his will in the army of heaven, and among the inhabitants of the earth, and none can stay his hand or say unto him, what doest thou?
Right. So we crying out like, Lord, what you doing? When you gonna take these people out of, you know? But ultimately we can't move his hand. But we can pray for mercy. The Lord has already established what he's going to do. We just got to have faith that he's going to do it. It said in due time, he's going to set one up that is profitable. Okay? So equity is going to be the Lord is going to put everything back in balance, man.
Yeah.
All right? So say something.
I was just going to say, because it's beautiful, you know, how you was going into balance, because what scriptures say that false balance
is an abomination. Right.
You know?
And that's what you got ruling the earth. Walking abominations are sitting on these high seats. Are sitting, matter of fact, give me Ecclesiastes 10 and 6 in the, might be in 18. See what it said in here. If you go to the word of the day, matter of fact, I know you can go to the word of the day. Yakanon's word of the day was position, right? Okay. Go to position and get my word. That was a few days ago, right? Because you got low people in high positions. The Lord said you got the bases of men in low positions. I mean, you got the bases of men, the lowest of people, in the highest of positions.
This is Ecclesiastes chapter 10 and verse 6 in the NIV.
Right, the New International Version, right?
And it says, fools are put in many high positions.
Yep, fools are put in many high positions. That's your leaders. That's your presidents. That's your governors. That's your mayors.
Yep.
Also, and whether it be Jake or whether it be Esau, because you will have Jake on a low level position, he can be a mayor. But most of the time, the high positions, Edomites gonna get them, especially the presidential seat. Jake ain't occupying no presidential seats, man. Them heathens. That's why we know Barack Obama was a Hamite. Barack Obama went our people. He a fucking booty scratching, dookie eating African. Go ahead.
Gone. And it says in Ecclesiastes chapter 10 and verse 6.
So-called African anyway. Go ahead.
Right. And it says in the NIV, in the New International Version. And it says, fools are put in many high positions while the rich occupy the low ones.
Right. See that? But see, that's how the Lord established equity, fairness. Yeah. But it going back, like I said, it all starts with his law. His law is ultimately what fairness is dictated by. We didn't keep the law, so it's fair for you nations to rule. Why is it fair? So now we see when we don't keep the law, when you low-life base ass Edomites are in position, the condition that the earth is in. Let me get back. This is Psalms 82, and I'm gonna start at 4 again. Deliver the poor and needy, rid them out of the hand of the wicked. They know not, neither will they understand. What do they not know? They don't know the law. Give me Psalms 149. They don't know. The wicked in these heathens, they don't know equity. They don't know judgment. They don't know justice. 147, 19. Psalms 147.
This is Psalms 147 and verse 19. He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel.
Go ahead.
Verse 20. He hath not dealt so with any nation, and as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord.
Back in Psalms 82 and 5. They know not, neither will they understand. They walk in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are out of course. Why are they out of course? Because the bases of man are sitting on your high political seats. They're sitting on your World Economic Forums, right? They're sitting in your what you call it? Your World Health Organization seats, right? So the state of the earth is sick. You got a man that's constantly feeding you poison, right? Give me Isaiah 24. Give me Isaiah 24.
This is Isaiah 24 and verse 1, and it reads, Behold, the Lord Yahweh Yahushai maketh the earth empty, and maketh it waste, and turneth it upside down, and scattereth abroad the inhabitants thereof. It says in verse 2, And it shall be as with the people, so with the priest, as with the servant, so with his masters. And it says, as with the maid, so with her mistress, as with the buyer, so with the seller, as with the lender, so with the borrower, as with the taker of usury, so with the giver of usury to him. And it says in verse 3, the land shall be utterly empty and utterly spoiled, for the Lord Yahweh, while Yahushai have spoken this word. It says in verse 4, the earth mourneth and fadeth away, the world languisheth and fadeth away, the haughty people of the earth do languish. It says in verse 5, the earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof.
The earth is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, right?
Yep.
But the inhabitants of the earth are following the ones that are in the rulership position of the earth. So everybody walking around sick because the people that rule the earth are sick in the mind, are sick in the head. They do not understand righteousness and judgment and equity. And then they'll turn around and tell you, oh, well, yo, we all equal now. That's bullshit. Right? Go ahead. Finish that verse.
This is Isaiah 24 and verse 5, and it reads, the earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws.
There it is.
Changed the ordinance.
There it is.
Broken the everlasting covenant.
That's where the equity, that's why there's no equity in the earth. Look at the man. Look at the men. Majority of the men is feminine. You walk out here every day, you're gonna see a man, you might be confused, like, damn, I thought that was a man, that's a woman. You'll see a woman, you're like, damn, I'm confused. I thought that was a woman, that was a goddamn man.
No.
All the ordinances in the Bible are being broken. You look at the women really run the society. You look at how the women carry themselves. That's the new standard. That has nothing to do with how women were supposed to conduct themselves. But when you try to establish what the Lord's way for a woman to live, she don't want to hear that. Read it again. Verse 5.
This is Isaiah 24 and verse 5, and it reads, the earth also is defiled.
See, that's why, there's a reason why America is symbolically known as a whore. And it's spoken of as a well-favored harlot and whoredoms. When you look at the condition of our people, they conduct themselves like whores. Even the men, when it comes to what makes a man a whore, is when a man doesn't worship Yahweh Shai, doesn't worship his true power. When you have another God besides the Most High, Yahweh Shai, you as a whore. So if you're going to be a whore, the Lord say, well, I'm going to give your woman over, like give your woman up to be a whore. Say your women shall be hardest in the city. But see, our women walk around as if they are some type of royalty. Big ass sack bag in the front, you know, stretch marks, all that shit hanging out, you exposing all your uncomely parts, and they're truly uncomely. You know? Go ahead, bro.
And it says in Isaiah 24 and verse 5, the earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant.
Yep. So the Lord's about to come and reset this shit. You know? Go ahead.
It says in verse 6, therefore hath the curse devoured the earth.
Yep.
And they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned and few men left.
Right. And how is that going to happen? By the means of the thermonuclear missiles, intercontinental ballistic missiles. Right? Which is say the Lord ruled in the kingdom of man with the host of heaven's armies. Right? But guess what? The weaponry, the nuclear missiles that's on the earth right now, that's a part of the Lord's army. That's a part of what the Lord is going to use to cleanse this earth from all the filthiness, right? And the defiled abominations that's going on in the earth, man. Okay? So let's get what you got? You got something?
Oh yeah, I was just gonna bring this out.
Go ahead.
This is Psalms 50 and verse 16. Like you said.
Let's get back to equity, right?
Yep.
Some precepts.
Come. It says in Psalms 50 and verse 16. It says, "But unto the wicked, Yahweh Shai saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes?"
Right. What do you use the right to say that you are God-fearing and your country is built on the Bible, and you run around and let homosexuals run rapid and give them rights to marry? Hey, that's not of the Bible.
Yeah.
Go ahead, bro.
And it says in verse 16 of Psalms 50, "But unto the wicked, Yahweh Shai saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth?" Verse 17, "Seeing thou hatest instruction, and casteth my words behind thee." Yep.
So you're not the heathen. You're not a part of the Lord's kingdom. You're not a part of his hierarchy. You're not a part of his council. Like, you have nothing to do with the Lord's righteousness. Okay? Go ahead. Get some closing precepts. Lord will, the point's been made, and y'all just tuning in and listening are being edified. We're gonna get some more, right?
This is what the brother Yashima had put in there. This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 9, and starting at verse 2. And it reads, "An ordained man," and it says, "An ordained man through thy wisdom, that he should have dominion over the creatures which thou hast made." And it says in verse 3, "And order the world according to equity and righteousness, and execute judgment with an upright heart." It says in verse...
Ultimately, that's going to be Yahweh Shai.
Right.
Right? It begins with him.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the words that we are preaching week in and week out, day after day. Okay? Start back at 1.
Let me go
They're not our words, they're the words of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. Yup.
God, this is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 9 and verse 1. It says, Yahweh, Salaki. It says in Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 9 and verse 1, O power of my fathers, the Lord, Yahweh, while Yahweh Shai of mercy, who has made all things with thy word.
He made all things with thy word. See, that's key right there.
Yeah.
That's the true, the word, the Lord's word is the true equity. Go ahead.
Yep, and it says in verse 2, and ordain man through thy wisdom that he should have dominion over the creatures which thou hast made.
And ultimately, that's first to the Israelite man. Right? Remember, Israel to be above all. Okay.
And it says in verse 3, and order the world according to equity and righteousness, and execute judgment with an upright heart.
See, get Qurani's word of the day. It's precept from the word of the day.
Okay, come. This is Proverbs chapter 1 and verse 3, and it reads, to receive the instruction of wisdom, justice and judgment and equity.
See? Yup. You go back. But see, it go right with what's being spoken in Wisdom of Solomon 9 verses 1 through 3. Right? He's gonna go to it, he's gonna start up a verse.
This is Proverbs chapter 1 and 1. And it says the Proverbs of Solomon, the son of David, king of Israel, verse 2, to know wisdom and instruction.
So, like I was saying, it begins with Israel, Yahushua and Israel, right? Particularly who? The house of David. Yep. You got it, bro.
Yep. And it says in verse 2, to know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding. Verse 3, to receive the instruction of wisdom, justice and judgment and equity.
Right. Esau Edom can't do that.
Yep.
Because he hates instructions. He hates wisdom. His wisdom is not wisdom. It's the knowledge of evil.
Yep.
Yep. You can get as many as you want.
All right, come. This is the brother Anah's precept that he put in there. This says Ecclesiastes chapter 2 and verse 21. For there is a man whose labor is in wisdom and knowledge and equity. Yet it says, yet to a man that have not labored, therein shall he leave it for his portion. This also is vanity and a great evil. See, this is Isaiah chapter 11 and verse 1, and it reads, there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse.
Who is that? Who is that rod out of the stem of Jesse? Yahweh Shai.
Yep.
Go ahead.
And it says, and a branch shall grow out of his roots. It says in verse 4 of Isaiah 11 and verse 4. But it says, but with righteousness shall he judge the poor and reprove with equity for the meek of the earth.
Right. So when he brings judgment, it's going to be righteous and it's going to be fair. Right? Now in Revelation, it foretells of the Lord, say, with righteousness he doth judge and make war. So when he brings his judgment on the planet Earth, when he brings thermonuclear missiles, when he brings Jacob's trouble, when he causes America to be completely destroyed by thermonuclear missiles, it's going to be a fair judgment. You can't say that it ain't fair. Right? I say, look at how deliciously you live. Look at how long you suck the life out of the kingdom. When I say the kingdom, I'm talking about Israel. You sucked the life. You pretty much destroyed the Lord's chose. He allowed you to destroy his kingdom to build yours.
Yeah, if I may add, like that precept that you like bringing out, that he should judge the people with his truth.
Yeah.
What's that precept?
Psalms 96.
Yep.
Yep. Psalms 96 and 13.
Yep.
Yep. He comes to judge the earth. Yep. He shall judge the people with his truth.
Yep.
You got it out.
Con, this says in finishing up in Isaiah 11 and verse 4, but with righteousness shall he judge the poor and reprove with equity for the meek of the earth, and he shall smite the earth with the rod of his mouth, and with the breath of his lips shall he slay the wicked.
Yep.
Yep.
And that's how his chariot is going. Pretty much, prophecy is the first aspect of that. But even when the Lord comes on the chariots is just going to be at his command. Like he's just going to speak. It's already really done. You know, everybody's judgment is already predestined. So that's the power of his word.
Yep.
Right? And see, that's what people don't really understand, how the power of the Lord works. It's really just him speaking it. And it's already written, and it's already been spoken, and it's already written. You just have to be able to operate on faith to believe that these words that we speak, that they're actually going to come to pass. Go ahead, bro.
Con, this is your precept, huh?
Okay.
This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 12 and verse 16. It says, for thy power is the beginning of righteousness. And because thou art the Lord of all, it maketh thee to be gracious unto all. It says in verse 17, for when men will not believe that thou art of a full power, this is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 12, verse 17. For when men will not believe that thou art of a full power, thou showest thy strength. And it says,
So for what if some did not believe? Would it make the faith in the Most High none effect? God forbid. Because that's exactly what he wants. He wants a majority of non-believers on the earth. So now, when he come and make his power known, he's setting an example. It's a saying in the world. I'm gonna make a believer out of you, boy. I'm gonna show you. I can show you better than I can tell you. Go ahead,
yep, and it says in verse 17, in Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 12, verse 17, for when man will not believe that thou art of a full power, thou showest thy strength, and among them that know it, thou makest their boldness manifest.
See? That's why we standing here like, and it come off as proud, like, for them that know it, you know what I'm saying? His word is being made known through us. And we standing on it firm, like, man, we just waiting, man. It's just gonna have to happen to you for you to get it, man. Like, we just wait, like, okay, you don't believe? Cool. You don't believe in the power of the Most High? He ain't showed you enough already? Okay.
Yep.
Just stay tuned.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yep, and it says in verse 18 of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 12, verse 18, but thou, mastering thy power, judgest with equity, and orderest us with great favor, for it says,
but thou, master, see, the Lord is setting us up to master his judgment. The elect are setting up.
Yep.
This word, he's giving us this. This is us obtaining an understanding of his judgment on a master level.
Yeah.
You know how, these so-called college students, they go and get their master's degree, or they're getting a master's of downgraded knowledge. Degree means downgrade. So you're mastering a low-level man's wisdom.
Yep.
You're mastering, because we're in the time of the basest and the lowest of men ruling the earth. And you're getting a master's degree or master's education in the low level thing. Meanwhile, we're getting a master degree in true power, true righteousness and understanding. Go ahead, bro.
And then it says in Wisdom of Solomon chapter 12 and verse 18, but thou, mastering thy power, judges with equity and orderest us with great favor, for thou mayest use power when thou wilt.
Yep. So he may use his power when he will, because we are an extension of the power of the kingdom of heaven is within you. So guess what? He's not going to come and just show his power and be selfish with it. He's going to let us show y'all motherfucking ass too. We ain't going to just be constantly talking, man. Lord will, we those men.
The fishes turn to hunters.
The fishes turn to hunters, man. Okay? So the time gonna come. The very men that you looked at as insignificant and having no power, like I say, the rich sit in the low place, man. And fools occupy high positions. And soon, they say he gonna make his power known. You know? He say he enduring a lot of longs, like right now, the Lord being patient and just enduring all the wickedness that's going on the earth. All the filthy abominations that's walking up and down and through the earth. Because he's long suffering. But soon he gonna make his power known. So with that, we pray that you will edify again. We're giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Akakodash, Kwam Yasharala,
Kwam Yasharala,
Baba Ball, Rise Israel, destroy confusion, Shalom, Lapakaya.
Shalom.
Hey, peace to the left.